It's time for the Josh Kirby on Sports Podcast.
Alrighty, one more game left in the NFL. It's the Super Bowl between the 49ers and the Chiefs. Here on the Josh Kirby on Sports Podcast, we'll give you everything you need to know from both the 49ers and the Chiefs here on the Super Bowl preview show. All coming up next. Stay tuned.
Indeed, I'm glad you connected. This is Dave Johnson, voice of the Washington Wizards. You have connected to the right place because you are listening to my man, Josh Kirby, on Sports Podcast.
All righty. The time is finally here. You've been waiting for it. We've been waiting for it. It's the Super Bowl special. The Super Bowl is set. The 13-3 San Francisco 49ers winning the NFC Championship game against the 12-4 Kansas City Chiefs winning the AFC Championship game, both for the right to play each other for a Vince Lombardi trophy. It is the Super Bowl special, and we have you covered here on the Josh Kirby on Sports Podcast. Before we begin, we're part of the Mayo Please Podcast Network, sponsored by Route 11 Chips. Make sure you find a bag today inside your local Martin's, Food Lion, and Giant stores. We are also brought to you by PM Plus Reserves. As always, want to give a big thanks to MPT Now Productions, JR Beats Official, and Dave Johnson for all they do. We have a really exciting show for you all today, and here joining me to break down everything that you need to know for the Super Bowl is Carlos Martinez.
What's
Carlos, are you hype? Are you as hype as I am about this episode?
Yeah, for sure, dude. We're ready to rock here.
We are ready to rock and roll. I'm telling you what, we have a packed show for you, starting off with how each team got to the position they are to play in the Super Bowl. Starting off just a little bit, starting with the 49ers last season, they really struggled. They were struggling to find their identity, Carlos, and they went 4-12. Only 4 wins as compared to this season going 13-3. So a big turnaround. I love what John Lynch is doing for that front office. They're really making a lot of changes with some great players too. And, you know, Jimmy Garoppolo, healthy all this season, but last season he was injured for most of the year.
Got them Nick Bosa. They were doing, conveniently enough, he got injured against the Chiefs. But yeah, man, just that's what got them Bosa, and that's what's really like propelled them to this run, and to really flip it from 4-12 to 13-3. That's just humongous. Pretty much from like the bottom of the barrel in the league to the top, the creme of the creme, as you would say. Like, that's just incredible to me. Like, this season's been like, it's been fun. It's been fun with the 49ers back on top.
Yeah, it has been really fun. And for the Kansas City Chiefs, they were almost in this position last year, but they were one game short in the AFC Championship game with a Dee Ford offsides play that gives New England the position to tie the game going into overtime, and the Chiefs do not even get a possession in the overtime.
Well, it got the rules changed for the championship. The overtime rules changed for the championship games because of that. Because how do you have your league MVP just standing on the sidelines, not getting a chance to respond to a touchdown? And kind of ruined the Super Bowl that we all wanted that last year, which was we wanted that Chiefs-Rams Super Bowl because of like that incredible Monday night football game that they had
Absolutely.
earlier in the season. We all kind of wanted to see the rematch, how it would go. But the Patriots, did what the Patriots do. You give them a second chance, they'll make you pay. And they got a second chance, and they got to the Super Bowl and gave us a dud of a Super Bowl. But, I feel like this year we got the Super Bowl the Super Bowl that feels right. This feels like it's the right Super Bowl.
It feels like a pretty good Super Bowl. This year's playoffs have just been very, very interesting.
It's been different because, again, this is the first time since, 2010? Since 2010 that the Patriots were not all the way into the AFC Championship game.
With that loss to the Jets, it was crazy. It was like nobody expected it to happen.
That was the first year because the Jets went to consecutive AFC Championship games. Those 2 years going, I think that was the first year where they pulled off that huge upset. But yeah, it's just been interesting because now we know for sure it's gonna be something. We're watching something different this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said before, it's very rare not to see the Patriots in an AFC Championship game with that stat.
8 straight years that they were in the championship game, which is absolutely insane.
Ridiculous. Crazy stuff. So let's get this started, Carlos, starting with the 49ers. Let's run down this schedule. They ended up 13-3 with a week 4 bye week. Let's get it started. The first 3 games with 3 easy wins against Tampa Bay, Cincinnati, and a 24-20 win over Pittsburgh. Jimmy G came out strong in those games, about 400 combined passing yards, but nothing major to talk about in the first 3 games of the season.
Going into that Pittsburgh game, I'm pretty sure Big Ben was already injured.
Oh, yeah.
He was injured going into that game, so it wasn't really the best test. And again, Tampa Bay, you got Jameis Winston, who
what's Jameis Winston gonna do?
He's the ultimate game manager because he manages his team and he also manages the other team by giving them the ball constantly with his legendary 30 for 30 season.
Oh my.
And then obviously they played Cincinnati, which of course right now has the number 1 overall pick, so they're the worst team in the league. And then Pittsburgh going into that, I mean that was a pretty tough test actually, 24-20. But it was obviously, it was obvious they were going to probably win that game. But then having that early bye, that actually makes this run even more impressive because they then went,
5 straight.
No, not even 5 straight, but they just went weeks and weeks from week 5 to week 17 without a break, just playing tough game after tough game after tough game.
Yeah, and only losing 3 games against the Seahawks, the Ravens, and the game I feel like they should have won against Atlanta, the struggling
They should have won, but
Falcons.
They were coming off of that really, really tough stretch against
Green Bay, Baltimore, and New Orleans.
Exactly, which
three tough games.
3 playoff teams. And that New Orleans, and then just coming off that New Orleans game where it was just a shootout, which is the game you have to point to when people start talking about Jimmy G not being a great quarterback. He went toe to toe against Drew Brees and beat him, but I just feel like they were just
a missed shoestring tackle, by the way.
Yeah, that's fair. But even in that loss, at 29-22, they were starting to make a comeback, but they just kind of ran out of time.
You want to hear a funny stat?
What?
The Redskins held the 49ers to 9 points this season.
That is true.
In the rain.
It was, God, the weather was atrocious that day.
I was at B-Dubs watching the game, and I was 9-0. This doesn't feel like the Redskins sucked. It was just 3 field goals.
But it's once again, my gripes with FedEx Field. I absolutely despise that. That the field, it's just god awful. So, and then that weather, they were doing freaking slip and slides on there.
So if you want to hear a good stat, Redskins fans, we held the NFC champions to 9 points this season.
Well, I'm putting an asterisk the terrible weather because I feel like if it was a beautiful sunny day, San Francisco was gonna light you guys up so fast.
Yeah. So they beat Cleveland, beat Los Angeles, the Rams, beat the Redskins, beat the Panthers, beat the Arizona Cardinals.
Ooh, and they had to make a comeback on that game.
Yeah, 28-25.
Because they were down against
very
Kyler Murray.
close game in that one. But still not strong teams. But towards the end of the season, as you said, they played Green Bay, the tough loss in Baltimore,
which
the
again,
thriller in New Orleans. Then you have to wrap up the season, Los Angeles Rams again, and the Seahawks on Sunday night.
In which they were just
that was for the NFC West.
I mean,
what
it was
a game that was.
It wasn't even for the NFC West. It was for It was for the bye week because it was either they win, they get the number 1 seed, or they lose and they go down to the 5 seed.
And that tackle,
and they were just literally
them
an inch
inches
away
short from the end zone. That was the craziest game 256 I've ever seen.
They always say this is a game of inches, and it's just like literally
inches
because the playoffs could have looked very different. I mean, it could have been Seattle hosting a bunch of games. It could have been everybody has to go to Lambeau. And, again, it could easily have been Green Bay in the Super Bowl had that tackle not happened.
That tackle determined a lot of things in the playoffs that could be different if he made it in for a touchdown.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So
Green Bay wouldn't have to go to the West Coast and stink it up again because they're not a West Coast team.
My. Yeah. So moving on to the AFC and the Chiefs, starting off the first 4 games with a 4-game winning streak. They played Baltimore, beat them.
That was Baltimore before they got into their groove.
Yeah, I don't think Baltimore
it would have been very
had that
interesting.
Much of a groove.
Yeah, it would have been very interesting.
The thing about the NFL is I don't think teams really establish a groove until more like week 4 or 5.
Well, you got to think now. A lot of starters.
All the changing,
a lot of starters aren't
parts.
playing. In the preseason now. Like Aaron Rodgers, I think I was either this past preseason or last preseason. Like he literally didn't even play a single snap.
Yeah.
Going into the regular season, and it's just because like you don't want to risk getting injured in the preseason. So it's like normally it takes like a solid month to get their groove going. By October is when you really start to see which teams are for real and which teams are not.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I see every year. But still, it's interesting over the course of a 17-week season to see what each of these teams can do and how the win-loss record changes from game to game, if you know what I mean. So, 2 back-to-back losses for the Chiefs.
Compromised Patrick Mahomes, though. He was dealing with that ankle injury. You could tell he was not moving the same.
Yeah, that is part of it, but still, 2 very not-so-good teams in Indianapolis and Houston.
Well, at the time, Indianapolis was on a roll. Jacoby Brissett was healthy. I mean,
and Andrew Luck retired.
But Jacoby Brissett was healthy, and that's what really hurt Indianapolis going into the later part of the season was that Jacoby Brissett he definitely wasn't 100%. And then there was just a lot of injuries to that Colts team. That Colts team is good. So I would give it to them. That and then, losing to Houston, I mean, 31-24, it was still a compromised Patrick Mahomes. So yeah, I mean, but it was 2 tough losses, but I feel like that just kind of like propelled them to like this like streak but then unfortunately Patrick Mahomes gets injured the next game.
Yeah, he has like a thumb injury too, or was that later on?
I think that was around the same time.
Yeah, I think he had a thumb injury too, that hindered his ability to throw a little bit. I'm not sure what week this was, but something like that, but he came back and played. It was like a minuscule injury, but still. Patrick Mahomes had his share of injuries on the field for this season, but after those 2 losses...
No, that was later on in the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't then. Then that was just his ankle.
Oh, okay.
And then, obviously, he dislocated his kneecap, and they popped it back in. It was one of the most...
Oh, yes. No, I remember because Patrick Mahomes, in that crazy, confusing game in New England, he injured his thumb.
Yeah, it was in New England that he injured his thumb.
That's what I was thinking about.
Denver was where he hurt his knee, and then he was out for 2 weeks, comes back. They get blown out or not really blown out, but kind of, Well, they take that loss to Tennessee, which wasn't that Mariota who was still the starter at that point.
Man, that's a tough one.
I think that was Mariota.
I think he got pulled halfway, or I want to say half or fourths of the way through the season. But, anyways, I wanna dive into these Matt Moore games. 2-1 record with Matt Moore coming in for Patrick Mahomes against Denver, getting the 30-6 win, only losing to Green Bay 31-24, but coming back and defeating Minnesota. Matt Moore in those 3 stretches of games got about 400 to 500 yards passing.
600 actually, 600, 700 actually.
Yeah, around there.
But Matt Moore, he definitely
he helped them.
he definitely kept the ship of. Well, he finished the Denver game because Patrick Mahomes got injured in the second quarter. Comes in, finishes the job. It's Denver. Denver wasn't really doing much at that point of the season.
Yeah.
Obviously, losing to Green Bay was prime time. It's hard to ask Matt Moore, I guess, who was. I think he wasn't even playing last season. He was teaching, I think. And then that, beating Minnesota, thankfully it was at home, which is huge. But then Patrick Mahomes decides to come back, decides I'm good, comes back and gets Tennessee. You can see the difference between AFC Championship Patrick Mahomes against Tennessee versus regular season versus Tennessee.
Yeah, absolutely.
He could not move the same way. And you saw the difference in that. And whenever Mahomes can be mobile, he's good to go.
Yeah, but going back to Matt Moore, like keeping the ship afloat for the Chiefs being a decent backup quarterback, that's all you have to do. Just keep the team afloat. If your quarterback
Well, just think about it. They lose to Minnesota. New England gets that, would get that second seed if the season would have played out the same way. Had they lost to Minnesota, not made that comeback, they would have been in the wild card, and then they would have to go to Foxborough or they would have to go to Baltimore.
Yeah,
Matt Moore getting those or finishing the Denver game and making sure that they got the win, and then making that comeback against Minnesota. It really propelled them to make this huge run. And not on top of that, they also had a bye week very late in the season, week 12, which is huge. That helped Patrick Mahomes heal up a little more too. Whereas again, when you look at vice versa, San Francisco had their bye week in week 4. They got to figure that out. They cannot be having bye weeks in week 4 and week 12.
Yeah,
That's
really
just not
don't
fair.
like that. The Redskins had a bye week, I believe it was this year, week 4 or 5,
It's
or
the
the
same
year
deal.
before.
Why are you having your bye?
No.
Why are you scheduling teams bye weeks so early in the season? At least let's get past the midway point, and then we can start doing bye weeks.
Yeah, but Matt Moore, if he would have been terrible and the Chiefs lost those 3 games, I feel like the playoffs would be in a different scenario. That was my point I was trying to get at.
Oh yeah,
here.
for
But
sure.
Matt Moore, excellent job. And after they lose to Tennessee when Mahomes comes back, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games in a row with the bye week. So that's 6 games they've won straight to send them to the playoffs.
Yeah,
in the
their
spot
last.
they were
So
in.
Kansas City's last loss was to Tennessee.
Yeah.
And that says, because then they went on. They beat Los Angeles. I mean, that's not too big of a deal. You beat Oakland. They dominated Oakland. But the big one was obviously going to New England and kind of getting revenge for what happened in the championship game last year. And saying hey, we're the top team here. What are we doing? We're going into your house and we're gonna beat you there. Not many teams win in Foxborough, so.
And the Chiefs were able to do that in a very confusing game. But that's pretty much the rundown of the regular season.
Yeah, because after New England, I mean, it was Denver, Chicago, LA. They absolutely crushed those teams. I don't remember if all the starters played against LA in the last game, 31-21.
Yeah, I don't believe Mahomes started, I believe.
I think they might have played a little bit, but at that point, they kind of already
I mean,
knew.
it's pointless to play all your starters if
Well,
you
it just
are,
depends if you're playing for a play. It depends on playoff position. Like
Yeah.
Houston put all their starters on the bench because they knew there was no point in, playing them all because they knew they were going to get a wild card game regardless. Whereas, we weren't sure going into last week if it was going to be Kansas City or New England who was going to get that 2 seed.
Yeah, so that's both the teams, the Chiefs and the 49ers, in their regular season, and they made it to the Super Bowl. It's time. It's the Super Bowl, the 49ers and the Chiefs. Some stats for you folks. The 49ers will be making their 7th Super Bowl appearance. If they win, they will tie both the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots with 6 Super Bowl wins. The Chiefs can break the second longest Super Bowl drought with a win on Sunday. And I want to add to that saying Andy Reid for the Chiefs, he will absolutely deserve this win. If he wins, he will deserve it because Andy Reid's
always been the bridesmaid for so long.
Yeah, Andy Reid is one of the best coaches in the league without a ring, I want to say.
For sure.
He's made it before with the Eagles, but they lost to the Patriots.
They lost to the Patriots, and then he always made it to the NFC Championship game. There was that one year that the Cardinals went, I think that was 2008. I think, where they met up it was like Donovan McNabb's, I think that might have been his last year in Philly, or it was like close. It was close to the end of the Donovan McNabb years in Philly, where they just could not get going at Arizona. It was probably it was a rough playoff game, and that sucked. And then obviously last year, D Ford lines up offsides, and it kind of messes up his opportunity to go back to the Super Bowl. This is the first time in a while he hasn't had to deal with Belichick being in his way. So, like, this really could be the year of Andy Reid. Like, he's got a clear path right now. He's in the Super Bowl. He's got an incredible quarterback, an incredible team, and it's going to be a tough task, but this could be the year that he does it. And honestly, like, I hope he does. Like, I would be happy for Andy Reid if he does it.
I would be really happy too because Andy Reid, he's been in the league for so long, but still hasn't come away with a Super Bowl victory. And if he does it, I can almost guarantee he will make it into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
He'll probably make it in the Hall of Fame regardless because he's just been he's been doing it for so long. He's been such a great coach, but I don't think he'd be first ballot Hall of Famer. I think if he wins this Super Bowl, he's automatic first ballot. He's going to get in, and I'm rooting for the guy.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him too. But I think this Super Bowl is going to be a Super Bowl between a young-minded young head coach and a veteran.
A veteran, but he's a progressive coach. Like, he's constantly ahead of the game.
Yeah, but look at the two, how long they've both been in the league. But is experienced gonna overtake young in Kyle Shanahan, or will Kyle Shanahan have what it takes to find the right moves, find the right play calls?
This might be Kyle Shanahan's first Super Bowl as a head coach, but don't forget he was part of that.
Yeah,
the debacle of Atlanta against the Patriots. What was it? 25-3, something like that.
28-3.
Was it 28-3?
Yeah,
it was 28-3. Yeah, it was. He was part of that debacle, so I know he won't. I'm guarantee you he has learned from that experience. You have to have learned from that experience.
No, definitely a learning experience.
So,
but this is Kyle Shanahan's first year as a head coach.
But
so
I mean, to me, there's no difference. Like, he's already been here. Like, he wasn't in control of everything, but he was in control of that offense, and that's all he's really doing in San Francisco because he's letting Robert Saleh, run that defense. He's not really interfering with that.
Yeah. I think coaching is going to be a big part of this Super Bowl. And going along the coaching line, Robert Saleh and the 49ers defense, he does an amazing job. The 49ers defense is going to be a huge key in this Super Bowl matchup.
Oh, yeah.
Matching up against the Chiefs offense, you look at Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs' offense against the 49ers' defense, it's going to be one heck of a great ball game with these two offense and defenses
with basically for sure the best offense that has been that's played in this playoffs in the Chiefs, and then the best defense. It's strength against strength in this matchup. It's the Kansas City offense and the San Francisco defense just going head to head. It'll be so interesting to see how the adjustments Patrick Mahomes going to have to make, because they have some. Bosa's a monster. He's playing against his old teammate D Ford, who's playing against his old team in Kansas City.
D
Ford made it to the Super Bowl too.
D Ford messes up for San Francisco.
Do you understand if D Ford is the reason why, like, let's say he makes the game-clinching sack against the Chiefs, Kansas City will absolutely despise D Ford for the rest of the time. Because they're going to be like, you costed us the Super Bowl last year, and now you're costing us the Super Bowl this year. So it's just,
how the world works,
it's incredible. It's incredible to me.
Yeah, it's just going to be a great matchup. I feel like coaching's a big part, but some of the talent both teams have as well. I want to start with the 49ers and Raheem Mostert, especially against the game with the game in Green Bay. No, not in Green Bay. Against Green Bay.
Yeah.
But you get my point. You get my drift. But anyways, Mostert absolutely tore it up. The Packers' defense was nowhere to be found. It was crazy. And the Chiefs, they have a history this season of not having a great defense.
But again, look what they did to Tennessee. They have found their defense. They have found it. It has in the beginning of the year, it was terrible, but they have found it now. And you see, they held Derrick Henry, who up to the last game was running roughshod against every team. Run roughshod against the Texans in Week 17. Ran roughshod against the Patriots. The Ravens, he was single-handedly pretty much beat the Ravens. And just they held him to 69 yards, and they beat Tennessee the way you have to beat him, which was making Tannehill throw the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. But my point is the Chiefs' defense has to be top-notch.
Oh, they have to be. They're going to have to be on their game.
Yeah, because if not, Raheem Mostert's going to run all over them just like they did against the Packers.
We can't just focus solely. They can't focus solely on Raheem Mostert. Like,
no,
yes,
yeah,
he had a monster
absolutely.
game, but that's just because he was getting, he was on a roll. You cannot count out Jimmy G. This whole narrative of Jimmy G's not a good quarterback, that he's getting paid too much, that he's just a game manager, is ridiculous, because you just have to always look at that Saints 49ers game where he goes toe-to-toe with Drew Brees and beats him.
And he did study under Tom Brady.
Exactly. This is his third. This is his first as a starter. This is his third, all time. He already has 2 rings. That's so hard to believe that Jimmy G might have 3 rings.
Hey, I sat
and he'll be
on
halfway.
the bench and I have a Super Bowl ring.
He might be halfway to Tom Brady, but he's studied under Tom Brady. Obviously, and the rumors obviously that Bill Belichick wanted Jimmy G over Tom Brady, but the owner, Kraft, whatever, Robert Kraft, he was like, no, Tom's, he feels like he owes a life debt to Tom because of what Tom has done for
absolutely
the Patriots.
But Tom Brady has sent Jimmy G a text before the Super Bowl, I think today or yesterday, wishing him good luck. So
I imagine so. But the thing is that, like, it's not as if Tom Brady is still close with Jimmy G and Jacoby Brissett. They apparently have a group text message, and they message each other all the time. They call themselves the Wolf Pack. Wow. So we've seen it the past 2 years. Like, after the AFC Championship game last year, Tom Brady seeks out Patrick Mahomes after the game, talks to him in private. Like, Tom Brady's he's a pretty humble guy, I imagine, but he came from nothing and made himself into something.
Absolutely. And just the story here, how Tom Brady, Jimmy G, Jacoby Brissett were all on one team, and now Jimmy G has found his way to the top as a starting quarterback in a Super Bowl. I mean, Jacoby Brissett, he might get there, but solely on Jimmy G, the storyline here is incredible.
The word is that Patriots fans are gonna kind of take this as like a moral victory because they're like that's our guy. Like we made Jimmy G into what he is.
Yeah, and
anything for the Patriots fans to get a Super Bowl.
anything. But for the Chiefs, you look at Patrick Mahomes, you look at Tyreek Hill. He has weapons.
The question is LaShawn McCoy going to play in this? Because he has not played so far in the playoffs, and that's mostly because they haven't needed him.
That's a good question.
McCoy has been he's been inactive. He's a healthy scratch, I think, most of the time, and I think it's just Andy Reid's just like, I don't really need you for this game. Just stay healthy for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. And on the defensive side of the football, they have Terrell Suggs.
They have Terrell Suggs, but it's kind of Terrell Suggs over the hill. Let's be honest. He's not really like...
he's not the best, but he's back in the Super Bowl.
No, my thing is that the heart and soul of that Kansas City defense is Tyrann Mathieu.
Oh, no, absolutely. No,
sure.
I am not throwing Tyrann Mathieu under the bus.
But I think what you're going at is Terrell Suggs. He's been in this position before because conveniently enough, it was against the 49ers.
And he could
he's going that's what
team.
I'm saying. He's going to help the team, especially in, preparation for it, because this is not just any other game. As much as players want to say, "Oh, this is just another game," this is the damn Super Bowl. Like, come on.
Yeah, it is. But
this is what you've dreamed of your whole entire life, and here you are in the biggest game of any championship game, really. I mean, the only thing that's bigger is probably like the World Cup final, but it's just like that only happens every 4 years.
Yeah, but Tyrann Mathieu, key part. Bashaud Breeland, former Redskin, a key part.
And
he has played well.
And look where he is.
He
leaves Washington and he has success.
And Kendall Fuller got traded too, and guess where he is? In a Super Bowl.
Yeah, you see, so Redskins, they can get the talent.
Name dropping the Redskins.
They can get the talent, but they just can't use them.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's the Chiefs and the 49ers. It's time now to make our predictions on this wonderful game.
We haven't even talked about Bosa yet. Bosa, who had 9 sacks in the regular season and 3 in the
Carlos
playoffs.
just punched me in the face. Why did I forget Nick Bosa?
How do you forget about Bosa, man? That dude.
Man. Oh my. Well,
Kirby, edit that out later.
You didn't say it fully, but
I didn't say it fully, but edit that out later for future reference. Anyways, but he's an animal, man. He's an animal.
Yeah, he's a beast, and Bosa's going to be a good part as well in this Super Bowl.
Actually, don't edit it out. Add a bleeping sound effect on there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that.
That's not hard. You just download like a clip of it, and there you go.
Okay. Well, we're getting off track here,
yeah,
Carlos.
We are getting off track.
So, anything else to add, Carlos, that I might have missed?
Pat Mahomes, when he's thrown like 14 touchdowns, 4 interceptions since coming back from that injury. I mean, you saw it last week. A mobile Patrick Mahomes, who's not injured, he's not compromised, is just absolutely phenomenal, exciting to watch. Obviously, you saw the comeback against the Texans, that incredible touchdown run against the Titans 2 weeks ago, which it still baffles me. Like, I can't even remember how many guys missed, but he made a lot of guys miss. And almost actually fumbled the ball if you watch it. But on top of that, just Jimmy G.
I think we about covered all our topic lines here for the Super Bowl.
For the most part.
Yeah. So it's time.
One thing though. One
more point.
The 49ers, they're 7-0 when Jimmy G throws for more than 250 yards per game. So basically what I'm saying is if Jimmy G has to throw the ball, he can do it and he can win. And then Patrick Mahomes, 8 playoff touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Two great quarterbacks.
Strength against strength. The Kansas City
Yeah.
offense versus the San Francisco defense.
Absolutely.
This is the Super Bowl we wanted this year, and that we were halfway denied last year, obviously because we wanted the Rams and the Chiefs last year, not, and then this year we wanted, we wanted this. We wanted the clear two best teams in the Super Bowl are in the Super Bowl this year.
They absolutely are. And it's not New England against the NFC, somebody on the NFC. It's great to see
that would have been an interesting storyline, though. The Patriots against the 49ers, Jimmy G playing his old team, Tom Brady seeing if he's still the man against the young buck.
Well, that would be an interesting storyline, but it did not happen.
It did not happen.
But, it's going to be a great game between two competitive teams that have great assets on both the offensive and defensive side of the footballs. Hands down. And you don't have to see New England, and you don't have to moan and groan because they may or may not hoist another Lombardi trophy. You're going to see good quality football, and it's sad because it's the last week of football.
That's not true. XFL.
Oh, yeah. I almost forgot XFL, but that's a topic
for after the Super Bowl.
Maybe more future podcasts. We're still debating that. But it's time for our predictions. Carlos Martinez, Josh Kirby. Starting with Carlos, who are you taking in the Super Bowl?
All right. Well, this is a pick'em game, honestly. Like, again, these teams are so close. They're so good. I'm going to go with a thriller. It's going to be back and forth.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go with Kansas City 35, San Francisco 31. So I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs winning the Super Bowl, Andy Reid getting his first one, Patrick Mahomes solidifying himself as the face of the league. And I just think that this won't be the last time that these two teams play each other in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I feel like this is going to be something. I feel like both teams are going to make multiple trips because they're both set up for the future, especially San Francisco. And I'm excited for that. I'm excited for this new wave. I mean, it was fun watching the Patriots dynasty, but we'll see. And
all dynasties come to an end.
Hopefully, my Cowboys can make a run at some point.
God, don't bring Dallas onto the podcast.
I don't.
This is a Super Bowl podcast, not a Dallas Cowboys fanboy podcast.
Yeah, this was not a Redskins fanboy podcast to start off. Yeah. Anywho, but yes, I'm going Kansas City 35, San Francisco 31, and I think Super Bowl MVP will be Patrick Mahomes, and I think it'll come down to the last 2 minutes in which Patrick Mahomes is going to lead them down for a game-winning drive. He's going to throw up to Tyreek Hill. Or, no, take that back. Travis Kelce in the end zone. Touchdown.
All right.
Boom.
All right, now it's
Book
over to
it.
me. It's over to me now. So the 49ers, they will do excellent. Jimmy G will throw great. I'm thinking if he throws an interception, only one. Mostert's going to have a great game. Their defense will live up to the standard. The Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, will have a great day throwing. The run game if they need it. But I'm not sure about LaShawn McCoy, like you said earlier. But Pat Mahomes can use the wheels himself if needed. Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, great weapons. And the Chiefs' defense, they just have to tighten up. Yeah, I mean, you've said they have been playing well, but still they need to be top-notch. With that being said, this is going to be a very close and competitive Super Bowl, in my opinion. And with that being said, it's really, really not easy for me to say this, but I think it comes down to the defenses in this football game. And I think the 49ers take this football game 34-30. That's my scoring line.
34-30.
Yeah.
I don't know how often we can get that score line.
34
both teams would have to miss extra points. which is very possible.
35-31. Okay.
So you're just gonna go the flip opposite of me, where you're okay.
No, I'm thinking
It's a pick'em game. Yeah, it's a pick'em game.
I'm thinking a 4 point difference.
Yeah.
That's all. But I think it's going to be high scoring, back and forth. Yeah, it hates for me. I hate to pick against the Chiefs, being that Andy Reid won't my pick means everything. But I mean,
well, let's say
I just feel sorry if my pick is right. Andy Reid won't win a Super Bowl, but he's a great coach.
He'll get with Patrick Mahomes. He'll get multiple opportunities. So if he doesn't get this one, which again I think he's going to get this one. I don't know.
No, but
he'll get another shot. I imagine he'll get another shot.
Both teams are great, but only one team can win the Super Bowl. That's how torn I am. That's really
this is a pick'em game. This is really hard. Even Vegas is like, we don't even know who's going to win this game right now.
Yeah, so
now it's Kansas City. They're the favorites.
I'm picking the 49ers. 3 or 4 point difference in the game. It's going to be back and forth, but it will come down to at least a turnover and how the defense is doing, in my opinion.
The turnover battle will definitely be huge. It's just going to be hard.
Absolutely.
It'll be more of, can Patrick Mahomes figure this San Francisco defense out, and can Jimmy G protect the ball? Because Jimmy G obviously threw that horrible interception against Minnesota, and this Kansas City's defense opportunistic. So we'll find out. It's going to come over to turnovers for sure, but then it's going to also come down to which quarterback can come up in the biggest moments, in my opinion. And I just think Patrick Mahomes has obviously already shown it. That's not saying Jimmy G can't, but I just think Patrick Mahomes he can literally he can impose his will on the game, and we saw it against Houston. Like he can just take over and just light it up when he needs to, and this team follows that.
Absolutely. Those are our picks. That's all we have for the Super Bowl. We gave you the Chiefs and the 49ers in the regular season. Our thoughts, our stats, our predictions. It's going to be a really fun one. It's going to be really fun.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to take a quick break. We're not done here. When we return, we'll bring you some of our Super Bowl traditions and much more. Stay tuned. You're listening to the JKSP.
The Josh Kirby on Sports podcast, part of the Mayo Please podcast network, is sponsored by Route 11 Chips. Make sure you grab a bag today inside your local Martin's, Food Lion, and Giant stores. And our new sponsor and fellow sports fans at PM Plus Reserves, providing reserve studies for homeowner and condominium associations in the Washington metropolitan area for the past 30 years. Make sure you check us out on all streaming platforms via the Mayo Please and the Josh Kirby on Sports podcast. You can also find the Josh Kirby on Sports podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, along with the Mayo Please on Twitter. Have any questions for the show? Feel free to shoot us an email at kirbyonsports@gmail.com.
All right, we are back. Even more Super Bowl coverage to dive into. The Super Bowl. Now, people think it should be a national holiday for people like you who wake up at 4 a.m.
Listen, it's a crime that the Monday after the Super Bowl is not a national holiday at this point.
I've done it before, watching Monday Night Football and Sunday Night Football, then going to work.
But that's different. I mean, Sunday Night Football, it's just like, it's not as big as the Super Bowl, where it's just like it's just different. It's different, man.
Yeah, I think you're just complaining, Carlos, because you have to wake up at 3:30
I have to wake up early.
morning.
I do have to wake up early, and it's a crime because I can't really enjoy the Super Bowl to its fullest potential. I can't drink a couple brews. I can't, have food.
Come on. We're going to have to get the bleeper sound effect on here somehow, but
beep.
Well, we'll get it working.
We're just gonna voice over it. Just go blah 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 blah. Just eat some, very very bad food for you, and I mean I can still do that, but I can't stay up after to really digest what I just watched.
Yeah, that's true, and I do.
Hopefully, this game does not do what the national championship game and take forever to end.
Oh,
because
my gosh, that national
championship
Monday,
game was absolutely
I
horrific.
didn't go to bed till 1 a.m. I'm glad I did not have work the next day because the national championship won. Why are you having it on a Monday?
It's just the college. It's the same thing with the basketball tournament. The national championship game's on a Monday, but it's just like, man, like, how do you take 4 hours on a Monday, knowing, and then on just. They started the game at like 8 o'clock. Now the Super Bowl's starting at 6, so hopefully it's not going to take 6 hours to end. Hopefully it's over by 11.
Yeah,
and then I'll be good to go.
Yeah, but the national
over...
championship starts a lot later than the Super Bowl. But anyways, let's.
Did you see that petition that people are trying to get
never,
the Super Bowl
I would
moved
never
to,
want the Super Bowl
moved to
on
Saturday?
A Saturday.
Yeah, me either.
No,
because
absolutely
then
not.
you're ruining the chances of this national holiday ever happening.
Oh my! So let's talk some of our Super Bowl traditions. I know you really don't have.
I don't
any,
really have any Super Bowl traditions.
But Super Bowl, it's a great time for snacks, just enjoying time with friends and family. If your team is not competing, like I am, so
like you've been for the past since before your lifetime. When have you ever celebrated?
Absolutely.
I mean, I can't say much because the last time the Cowboys won the Super Bowl I was literally 4 months old.
Yeah.
So
you know, some of the stuff I just want to encourage you to try to do. I saw some wing places, Buffalo Wild Wings, I believe Glory Days was one, pre-ordering on wings. So
God, that must be the absolute worst place to work at during the Super Bowl.
Oh, Buffalo Wild Wings.
Wild Wings for sure.
Yeah,
I feel so sorry for those people.
Yeah, but anyways, you can pre-order. Wings in increments of 50, 60, or 70, I believe.
Just order 100.
Yeah,
just go 100. Go big or go home.
And you know, if you're hosting big parties, I would encourage you to get small bite-sized boneless wings.
What I would definitely
for your
encourage,
party.
if you're doing a party, definitely do a potluck situation. Like, you're providing the venue, you're providing the the game.
Oh yeah, potluck.
For sure, have people bring stuff.
No,
for sure,
absolutely.
Because then you get a variety of dishes. Like, you get buffalo chicken dip. Like, you get oh Jesus.
And don't forget the queso. Chips and queso, Tostitos and queso. Sorry, Route 11.
If you're gonna get queso from anywhere, I mean
homemade.
No. You get queso from Moe's. Moe's is about to open here in a couple days. I think it opens tomorrow.
What?
It's a Southwest grill place.
Oh yeah, I heard of that.
Oh yeah, dude.
No,
their queso is fire.
No, but we actually make our own queso.
Mm-hmm.
Get a whole bunch of Velveeta cheese, just melt it.
You just make it in a crock pot or something?
No, actually on our stove.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but we have done it on crock pot before. But, you green chilies, you melt those till they're clear. Onions, you have some peppers, the salsa.
Look, queso
mixed
has
into
to
it.
be... It has to have that little spice to it.
It
has to have that little
does.
spice. That's what I'm saying.
Ours does.
If your queso doesn't have a little kick to it, I can't do business with you.
Oh yeah,
I can't do business with you. I gotta leave. I will get up and leave your party if their queso sucks.
Yeah, our queso has a kick, and we have. It's a family recipe, and that's one of the things that makes the Super Bowl great. We only crack out chili con queso twice a year for the first week of the NFL season
Really?
and the Super Bowl.
I respect it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a tradition we have. Tweet us at Kirby on Sports to share your Super Bowl traditions with us if you would like. I mean, it's great. Other stuff you can get sodas. A lot of
sodas,
of stuff.
some brews,
shameless
plug, some Bud Lights, preferably.
Oh my gosh! But brewskis. If you are drinking, just make sure you drink responsibly and have.
Oh, don't drink and drive. Please do not drink and drive. Everybody needs to make it home safe.
Now, a sober
Please
ride
use
home.
Uber.
Or Uber. Seriously,
Uber your way home, or make sure you have a DD. Or, I mean, see if it's possible to stay at the place that you're watching the game at, if it's at somebody's house. But please do not drink and drive.
Absolutely. That's one thing I'd like to point out. do not drink and drive. Spend the money, the $12, $14, $15 for an Uber. Crash at your friend's house or wherever you're consuming
always
alcohol.
think about it this way: $12, $15 to get home, or $10,000 to put you in the ground. Always think about it that way. If you want to think about it in a financial sense, it costs normally $10,000 to put you in the ground.
Yeah.
This podcast is getting pretty morbid, dude. Let's bring it back to the good times. So do you have like how many people do you got coming over for your like Super Bowl party?
I'm actually going places.
Oh, where are you going?
I'm going to a family friend's house, and and
you guys are just gonna take the queso there?
Yeah, queso, and just have a lot of food.
Gotcha.
The Super Bowl, I gained about 10 pounds or something. All the food there is amazing. The Super Bowl is the greatest time to crack out a specialty dish that somebody in your group is addicted to and just can't stop eating. You cannot stop eating. Just watch football and eat food.
Well, look, I mean, for the most part, people are going to get pizzas. People are going to get wings. You're going to get chips. And you're going to get, like, the buffalo chicken dip type stuff.
Yeah, all the bar food type of stuff,
Bar food's the best food.
Oh, yeah.
I love bar food.
Absolutely. But those are some
cheese fries.
Ooh.
Oh, cheese
fries. I encourage you, pre-order wings, but order some pizzas, get some sodas. Drink and drive responsibly. No, don't drink. Gee. If you drink, don't drive. My God.
Kirby, you're trying to get people killed out here, man. Come on, dude.
We're making a blooper reel.
Jeez.
A lot of great to be had in this Super Bowl.
But overall,
Sunday.
especially with, obviously, we're going to bring it morbid here, the death of Kobe. Enjoy the time with your family because you don't know when it's going to end. So please have fun this weekend or this Sunday.
Absolutely.
Everybody make it home safe, please.
Yes. Have a great Super Bowl Sunday. That was my tradition. I will share with you each and every year. Carlos is lame. He does not have any
Listen, man,
traditions.
look, my family doesn't come, like, we come from a different country for the most part. So, like, it's not like we knew what the Super Bowl was for the most part. Like, I think I'm like one of the first like generation people of my family that like actually enjoy the Super Bowl. So, I mean, I'll probably start some traditions, once I
get a big house,
get further on in my life.
Yeah.
But right now it's mostly just I'll, just probably hang out with some friends or I might have people over. I'm not really sure what I'm doing yet, but it'll be a good time.
It's gonna be fun. And should Super Bowl Sunday be a holiday?
A Super Bowl Sunday's on a Sunday. Like, you can't really make it a I mean, the only people that really have to work are the people who are in the service industry, who are, serving the restaurant business, the bar business, or
the restaurant. Yeah,
the unfortunate, who my heart goes out to them Sheetz employees who are going to have to miss, this beautiful Super Bowl. My heart goes out to them, and I would not be frequenting that establishment because of that.
But what was I gonna say? Jeez, but yeah, it's just a great time of the year. The Super Bowl, you're together with family and friends. You're just having a great time.
Well,
man.
it's also our last week of high level football until August and September when the regular season kicks off.
Yeah, and that's the sad part.
I mean, yes, like we're gonna get the XFL, but we don't even know what the XFL is gonna look like yet in terms of the level of competition. I mean, pretty much it's not gonna be as high level as the NFL is, but I mean, at least we'll have some football and we'll see how it works out.
Absolutely. So, that was my tradition, not so much Carlos's tradition. But if you have any thoughts, you have any questions on what you think you should get for your Super Bowl party. Wings, pizza. You can't go wrong with wings or pizza.
Specialty
chips and queso is a must. So that's pretty much my top 3. So anything else? This second half is a blooper reel.
Look, I mean, we didn't really have a format. We just were gonna talk about some random stuff, and that's it.
Yeah,
but
the Super Bowl is
everybody
a
who
great
listens
time.
to this podcast, make sure you follow all the social media accounts, and just keep supporting the podcast and help this thing grow.
Oh, I appreciate that. I'm going to give you a big handshake, big hearty handshake for that. So that wraps up the Super Bowl special on the JKSP. As always, Carlos Martinez, thank you so much for coming in studio today. I am Josh Kirby. As always, we're part of the Mayo Please Podcast Network, sponsored by Route 11 Chips. Make sure you find a bag today inside your local Martin's, Food Lion, and Giant stores. Also sponsored by PM Plus Reserves. Big thanks to MPT Now Productions, JR Beats Official, and Dave Johnson for everything. As always, you can find us via the Mayo Please and the JKSP on all streaming platforms and social media via the Mayo Please and the Josh Kirby on Sports podcast. We'll be back next week to wrap up the NFL season, and Carlos has one more thing.
Rate, review, subscribe.
Yes, rate, review, subscribe. We'll be back next week to finish off. This will be a very heartbreaking episode next week. Very heartbreaking, because we will be closing out the year that was in the NFL, the National Football League. It has been a ride, and we will be back with you next week to wrap it all up. Thank you, everybody, for all your support. And as always, we have been football heavy, but after football, the NFL, the Super Bowl, we will be more diverse in this podcast. I promise that. So until next time, for Carlos Martinez, I am Josh Kirby. Enjoy the Super Bowl that will take place on Sunday between the 13-3 San Francisco 49ers and the 12-4 Kansas City Chiefs. It's set to be a great one, and we will be bringing you updates on Twitter at Kirby on Sports with all you need to know, all the score lines, everything. So till next week, enjoy the Super Bowl, and we will catch you next time.